Then, Ms. Ferguson will go on to Article 37, which is about the Thoreau Depot Business District and Residence C zoning district boundaries.
All right. Okay, so Thoreau Business District is Starbucks and the train station and, Crosby's Corner and everything, or Crosby's over there. But what we're talking about is the specific area right by Starbucks and the mobile station across the street. And the proposed change to the bylaw is to amend the zoning map by expanding the Thoreau Business zoning district boundary and reducing a little sliver of Residence C right next to it. I'm going to show you a picture next. It affects 3 parcels. The 143 Sudbury Road, 159 Sudbury Road, the 2 businesses, and then the 148, 150 two-family home in the residential district right next to it. So this is what we're talking about. I don't know if I have a pointer on this or not, but if you can orient yourself here, what you see at pointing to 143 Sudbury Road, that's, I figured there was. So right here is the mobile station. Right here is Starbucks, and right here is a 2-family home. And so basically what we're talking about is making sure that the boundary for the business district is now extended to meet the property line here. And then I'll tell you exactly why we're proposing moving it here, because it's a very exciting reason. But keep that in mind when we're going on. So that's the area that we're talking about. Basically, the owner of the property at Starbucks has gotten an easement from the MBTA and can propose changing the traffic pattern to make it a one-way into Starbucks, go around the back of Starbucks, and then come out on the other side of Starbucks. There should be clapping right now. But I live on Thoreau Street, so I see this. But and so this is kind of what that would look like, and it's a small picture, but if, so right now this is the parking lot as you see it, and there's one way in, or there's 2-way in and out. The proposal would be that they'd go in, go around, and come back. And so to do that, it just requires the moving of the boundary of the business district a little bit over to the next property line. And basically, so they're going to create here, which is some trees right here, and then this property, the 2-family remains the same there. So this has been reviewed by the police chief and the fire chief, who both support this change in the traffic pattern, and it is believed that the one-way flow can substantially improve both traffic and safety. So basically, wondering why we're changing the boundaries and why they were, the existing Thoreau district, business district zoning was laid out as kind of an offset from the road right-of-way in 1928. It wasn't based on property lines or existing uses, so we have an opportunity to align that this time. So again, here's that map again, now that you kind of see what the proposal is. And what the amendment would be is to amend this business district boundary and residency district line at 159, oops, hold on, right here. So to amend it, so to move it over from here to the red line, and they'd be shifting it east just there. And then at the same time, we would propose amending the business district to go along the property line right here, to line up there where it's not right now. So those are the changes that would affect those 3 properties only. And as a result, there should be an increased and improved traffic flow in Sudbury at the Starbucks as a result. So now I will take questions and comments. I'll put that picture back up.
Hi there, Michelle, Pslums, 324 Sudbury Road. So I have 2 questions for you. So in context, I live very close to here, and there are 2 things to keep in mind in this area. One is that it's a huge traffic issue. People are waiting for a parking space to be open. So I'm just sort of thinking in my mind, if there's no parking space available, what are you envisioning? People going in circles around and around and around? Question mark. And then the second question I have for you is, how does this address what I think is also another huge concern, and that is when they're doing deliveries. Right now, when they do deliveries, and they essentially park on Thoreau
Yeah,
Street,
so-
a little bit further down, and they essentially sit, they basically block the street.
Yeah,
So will that
I-
alleviate it at all? Those are my two questions.
Yeah, but I do want to hasten to point out and we did bring up this issue, so the specific Starbucks plan, which actually, this article is not about the specific Starbucks plan. This article for town meeting is simply about moving the boundary. And that, of course, is motivated by this project. There will be a subsequent special permit process to review the design, the site plan, all of the traffic issues, all of that stuff related to this proposal. But all this warrant article is doing for this town meeting is taking that boundary and just moving it. So that's why we won't have and we can't have answers. We don't have a special permit application in front of us to evaluate. We do have this sketch, but we really, at this stage of the game, are simply making the zoning aligned so that such a proposal could be made.
So then can you clarify when we, as people who live in this area and walk by it every day and essentially worry about getting run over, where is that process? When will that process come into play?
So-
Will we have a say at all
Yeah.
about any of this discussion ever?
Yeah, so first of all, very similar to the last process, that we'll put in this, assuming this passes at town meeting, then it has to be certified by the Attorney General, and at that point, you would see, most likely, I would assume that they're just as anxious as anyone else to kind of make this happen now that they got the easement. Then you'd start to see a special permit application come in where you could weigh in. Yeah.
So there will be public comment.
There'll be a
Thank you very
public
much.
process, yes.
Hi, Karen Silver, 164 Thoreau Street. My question does pertain to the moving of the boundary
Okay.
lines. Now, around the mobile station, yes, your map shows that the business district lines will move to the property line, but across the street, you're actually extending the business district, yes, across the existing property line for 148 and 150. And that, as a neighbor, is our concern, that once that particular property is split between two zoning districts, what's to say in the future that the owner might say, well, now, it's kind of half and half, let's move the district further east and, make the two-family house, now change that in as part of the business district.
And that would have to come before town meeting. So it would have to be
Well,
approved by
but this
town
has to
meeting.
come before town meeting,
Yes.
too.
Right.
It's just, we
So there would
were-
have to be some reason that town meeting would say, yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm sorry? Yeah. Well, right, so the same reasoning would apply. I mean,
Yeah.
town meeting has to agree to this change, but is that typically the case, that a zoning district would not adhere to the property lines?
Well, in this case, the same business
I
owns
kn-
both of the
Yes.
properties.
I
and so-
realize that,
So this
but-
really allows us to minimize the extent of the, expansion of the district, right? Rather than trying to encompass the whole next lot, we just go partway into it to accommodate what potentially could be the driveway. So that's all. We're trying to make a minimum impact.
And we are, and again, because of when these original boundary lines and how they were established, we're just trying to kind of shore them up, certainly on the mobile side.
Well-
And so,
On the mobile side, I agree, but there was never a problem on the other side until Starbucks moved in. We've been long-term residents, and the previous business use, the parking lot was fine.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like trying to fix, there was a mistake made, and now we're trying to correct it with potentially another mistake. For those of us who live close by in the neighborhood, it's a little uncomfortable to see the business district moving closer. So,
Hi, Jack Madigan. If you could just go to the one with that one there. So her comment was correct. The 148, 150, you are slicing that. So there is, underneath that red line, there is no blue line, correct?
That's right. It goes through the middle of the lot. Yeah, it's really described by, map plot dimensions.
Okay, because I thought on one of the things I thought it said we're adhering it to the property line, which works for the, yes, for the
Right.
mobile
So,
station.
yeah, so there's
But
two
then we're
different-
not doing that for the
Correct.
existing thing. Did the previous line go to where that, to the left, the blue line there on the,
Did
it-
this is the current line where you
that's the
see
current,
hatched.
but,
Yep.
but you're not extending it just to that property line, that
Correct.
blue line. You're
Yep.
continuing it so that they can do the driveway so that they have an exit.
That's right.
And
So-
we don't know what that exit would be like. It's not going to be a left only or a right only. That would have to go before everything.
That's all gonna
Right
be-
now, to exit the parking lot, you can only take a right.
In theory.
Right,
Yeah.
depending on traffic and everything else. Okay.
Well, I mean, that's the law.
Yeah.
It's not often obeyed, but
I'm not
yeah.
arguing that. I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, seeing no other questions, let's move on